Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be doing a chit chat get ready with me. I want to talk all about my surgery, post-op, my experience in Florida, my experience with the doctors, and just healing and things like that. Just a little warning for you guys, this video may or may not contain some things that are kind of graphic. I really haven't decided for sure what all I'm going to include in this video. I did take a lot of pictures along the way. There is a video footage of my surgery, which I'm still not sure if I will include in this video or not, but if I do, I will put a little warning before I, share any of the footage, and then you can skip forward if you don't want to see that. And any photos that I do show, obviously, are going to be appropriate for my channel. I'm not going to just fully expose myself or anything, but I may show little bits here and there just so you guys can kind of see a little bit of what I'm talking about. But I also have some really fun photos to show of the recovery house where I stayed, of some just scenic photos in Florida during my time spent there with my husband before my surgery, and just things like that. As well, I did ask on my Instagram and community tab if you guys had any questions for me, now that I've gone through my surgery and things like that, and I would answer any of your questions you guys might have. And if you didn't get a chance to ask me your questions, please feel free to still ask your questions. Now, I do plan on doing a kind of like a 1 month post-op video. And I'll answer any additional questions there. I had to put my hair up because it was driving me nuts. But anyways, so today it's Christmas Eve, so it's December 23rd, and it's a Monday, and so today I'm officially 2 weeks post-op. Let me just kind of start off with my trip and things like that. So my husband did fly to Florida with me. We went a few days earlier, and the reason why we decided to do this was for a couple of reasons. For one, I did want my husband to be there for me for my surgery and things like that, but also our anniversary is in December as well, and we knew we wouldn't really be able to spend time together for anniversary, because actually our anniversary day was the day I was going to be flying home. Usually for our anniversary we always do some kind of trip away for like a couple of days or like the weekend or something like that. We always try to travel somewhere and spend some time together, so it kind of just worked out perfectly to celebrate our anniversary. We are celebrating, or did celebrate, 15 years together this year, and so that was just really, really nice. We stayed in Fort Lauderdale, and it is so beautiful there. I really enjoyed the time that we spent there together, and it was very it was really beautiful, but it was very strange because it literally felt like summer there. Like, it was such beautiful weather, the sun was shining, it was hot but not like too hot. It was just like such perfect beautiful weather, but it was really interesting to like see how everything was decorated for Christmas, and it was like definitely Christmas time, but like it felt like Christmas in the summer, so it was really interesting to see, but really fun. Now, the hotel we stayed at was just kind of like a little small hotel. It wasn't anything fancy, and we decided not to like super do anything very fancy because we knew we'd probably want to spend a lot of time outdoors and a lot of time checking a lot of things out, just because I knew that I would probably be stuck in bed and stuck in a room and things like that after my surgery, so I wanted to be able to be out and about as much as possible before that. So we had kind of a smaller hotel, but it was like a 5-minute walk from the beach, and so we pretty much went and spent a lot of time like at the beach and at this one area that's called Lauderdale by the Sea. Most of the time we were there, so we did a lot of walking, but we didn't mind. It was just like we kind of just wanted to explore, so we kind of kept walking around. So like I said, the beach area, or beach access area, was only like a 5-minute walk from our hotel, so we'd walk to the beach and then just kind of walk down the beach, and that's where we discovered that little area, Lauderdale by the Sea. And we spent a lot of time there, and we walked around, looked at shops and things like that. It really is such a beautiful area, and there was like a nice little area even for like kids and things like that, and just like seemed very family friendly, but also had stuff that was really fun and entertaining for adults and things like that. And the evenings there at that little area is so fun and lively, and I'm not sure if it's like that all the time or if it's just like on weekends or whatever, because like I said, we were there from the 6th to the 8th essentially, and so it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of a thing. But each night that we went there, there was live music in like almost all the restaurants. There was like a live concert type kind of a thing outside one of the restaurants the very first night we were there. I think it was Friday. But then when we went back the next day, there was live music and things like that in the restaurants and things like that. It was just really, really neat, really fun. We just really enjoyed that like atmosphere. Sunday we actually spent quite a bit of time in Hollywood, because Sunday I had kind of like a little bit of a pre-op appointment, which was basically me just kind of going in, signing a bunch of papers and kind of like getting information about what was going to happen with my surgery and like my appointments and things like that. And so basically it was like, I don't know, 15 or so minutes having my appointment, my pre-op appointment at EPS, and then we had the whole rest of the day. And since Hollywood was about, I don't know, maybe like 25 or 30 minutes away from where we were staying, we knew we wanted to kind of stay in the Hollywood area and kind of explore around. So we did go walking from from EPS to what I think is called like Old Hollywood or Old Town. It's kind of like a historic district of Hollywood, I believe, and just kind of explored around there. So that was actually a cute little area, but we only stayed there for just a little bit, looked in some of the shops, got something to eat, and then I had wanted to go to the Hollywood Beach like boardwalk area. I had heard that was a really beautiful place and area to check out. It literally looked like a postcard there. I took pictures and I even posted like on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook, how it looked literally like a postcard. It was just so beautiful. Totally random that in Florida, I did not know this, but there are like iguanas everywhere. I saw iguanas like so often, and it was so like surprising to me, because it's almost like they're roaming around like stray cats or something like that. And it was just really funny and interesting to see. One morning we were having breakfast in this place outdoors, and there was literally an iguana underneath my bench, and it was I don't know, partly startled me, but partly also like was really exciting. All right, so the day of the surgery, Monday, I believe I had to be there at like 7 or 8 in the morning. I think it was 7, I can't quite remember, but it was pretty early in the morning. When you have surgery, you're not supposed to eat or drink anything past midnight the night before and things like that. And so anyways, I get there, and that's when I really get to see and talk to the doctor for the first time. And I was really nervous. I'm not sure how anybody else may perceive Dr. Salama based on like videos and things like that they share of him like on YouTube and Instagram and things like that. But a lot of what I've seen like of Dr. Salama, like he seems very intimidating. He seems very like a serious guy, so it was a little bit intimidating to meet him for the first time and talk to him, things like that. But I will say that he is actually so very, you know, kind, considerate, very knowledgeable, very helpful. He definitely does have a little bit of a sense of humor, which I appreciate. It's nice when like, you know, your doctor or surgeon or whoever can like have a little bit of sense of humor and have the ability to like put you at ease and things like that. And I definitely felt like that with him. A funny note, when he was marking me up for surgery, and he was kind of going over how everything was gonna, you know, go, give me like the rundown of everything, and I'm standing there as he's marking me up, and I'm not sure if it was a mixture of like just all the information he was giving me, the fact that I hadn't eaten or drank anything at that point, the fact that it was like freezing cold in there, but I started to get like a little bit dizzy and felt like I was going to pass out. So as I'm standing there, I'm kind of like starting to like lose it, you know, and he notices and obviously, you know, helps me to sit down and kind of calms me down, tells me like a little funny story to kind of, you know, help me relax and things like that. Like I just really appreciated how he handled things and how he has a very like calm, soothing voice, but definitely not as intimidating as I initially thought, which I was really glad for. Alright, so after my time with the doctor, we basically, like I said, he kind of goes over everything that we're gonna do. He, you know, it's kind of like standard procedure. They let you know any complications that might happen, and then basically like that was it. We were going to go into surgery. He does have the anesthesia guy come in, ask me a few questions, and then they took me to another room, and he basically said, so here's what we're going to do. You know, I laid down on this table. He said, I'm going to, you know, put the IV in for the anesthesia here. You're going to feel a little bit of a pinch, and then you're going to taste something funny in the back of your throat. Some people say it tastes like metal. And then that's, you know, that'll be it. And so I'm thinking like, okay, that's kind of weird. But as soon as he put the you know, the IV in here, or the needle, or whatever it is, I don't know if it kept in there, so I don't know if it's like an IV or not, but anyways, basically they put it in your hand right here. I instantly felt, for me personally, and I have a high tolerance for pain, so it kind of surprised me, but it felt definitely more than a pinch. It was definitely like this kind of like burning sensation. It was so weird, and I was like, ow, that actually hurts. I think I said that out loud. I was like, ow, that hurts. And like instantly I also tasted something in the back of my throat, and I don't know quite how I would describe it. I don't think it tastes like metal. It was just a very weird taste, but it was, I remember thinking like how weird that it was like that instant. It's like I felt this burning in my hand, and then instantly tasted something in the back of my throat, and then after that, that is the very last thing I remember, which is so insane to me, like how quickly and effective that something can put you out. Like it just blows my mind thinking about it. And then the next thing I remember after that is waking up in the recovery area where they take you after surgery, and I don't remember a lot of that because I was still so very tired. I think when I first woke up, I didn't even open my eyes. Like I couldn't really tell where I was. I looking back, I assume that I know that's where I was, but at the time I really didn't have any idea. It was very strange. Like it's just, you're very kind of disoriented a little bit, obviously from the anesthesia and everything like that. But I just remember waking up being very cold. Like the whole time, the whole area is very cold, which I think it has to be to keep things like sterile and things like that. So like it was just very cold. So I just remember waking up and just shivering, just shaking. And someone came to me pretty much right away. So I assume someone's in there just watching people. I would assume. I don't know. Like I said, I felt like I was so tired. What did I do with my mirror? I didn't even open my eyes. I just remember like waking up, shaking, and saying I was cold, and one of the nurses coming over to me and asking how I was, and I just said I was cold. And then I remember they put on a blanket, like a heating blanket, because I felt warm pretty much right away. And then I fell back asleep. I must have fallen back asleep, and I don't know how long I fell back asleep, but I remember waking up again at some point, and it was time for me to go. So basically, like with Elite Plastic Surgery, they do have the I think it's called like the Elite Retreat, but it's their recovery house. And so you can have the option to, you know, pay to stay there instead of going somewhere else or going home or whatever. Because I think a lot of people who go to Dr. Salama are traveling from, you know, out of state, out of country even. I'm going to talk about my roommates in a little bit, and one of them actually traveled all the way from Nigeria to come to Dr. Salama. And so anyways, they have the recovery house for you to stay in and recover for a bit until you're ready to go home. So anyways, I remember them waking me up because it was time for me to go and be transported to the recovery house. Now, my husband was actually waiting for me this whole time. They did tell me ahead of time that he probably wouldn't get to see me very much like after the surgery, because I would be in that recovery room, and then pretty much right away they would transfer me to the recovery house, and there would just be a small window of time that he would be able to see me. And he knew that and I knew that, but he still waited several hours during my surgery, as well as after, you know, to just be able to see me for a few minutes before they transported me to the recovery house. I just remember saying that when I got up, or when I was in that wheelchair, they asked how I was doing, and I said I felt really nauseous, like I felt sick, like I felt like I was gonna throw up. And so I think they got me a bag just in case I would throw up, but I really had nothing to throw up, so I don't know. I think it was just like the effects of the anesthesia or something like that. And I guess there was some kind of patch I was given in the prescriptions they gave me that I was supposed to put on before my surgery. That's supposed to help with nausea. I'm touching right here because that's where the patch goes. But I actually did not know that, and that was because most people who come for the surgery will stay at the recovery house the day before their surgery, and all the caretakers there really know everything to do. They'll like help you with your prescriptions and let you know what you're supposed to take and what you have beforehand and then after your surgery and stuff like that. So if I had stayed at the recovery house on Sunday before my surgery, they would have let me know to put that patch on, and that would have helped. But I had, like I said, stayed with my husband. in a hotel separately and things like that. So I didn't know that. I didn't really know what all my prescriptions were for, and I didn't think to like look at them and just see, you know what I mean, or ask any questions. I just thought like, oh, this must be stuff I need after my surgery, you know. But anyway, so I'm guessing that's why I was so nauseous. But anyways, so they wheel me out, and that's when they get my husband, and that's his chance to like see me just for a couple of minutes. And what's funny is that like I remember this, but like I don't really remember much because I was still so exhausted at that point that like I couldn't even open my eyes. Like I remember the nurse telling me when I was saying I felt sick, like she said, open your eyes and, you know, try to look around and things like that. But I literally couldn't. Like my eyelids felt so insanely heavy that I just felt like I could not open my eyes. And I had a hard time leaving my head. I think I was like this a lot of the time, that I tried to like look up and try to like open my eyes, but like I barely opened my eyes, and just I almost felt like I just couldn't. I was just so exhausted. It was tough, but I do remember hearing my husband's voice. It makes me teary-eyed just thinking about it, because him, you know, being able to be there to see me was obviously important to me and important to him, because he was going to be flying home that next day and he wouldn't be able to see me for the next week and things like that. So we really wanted to make it a point for him to see me after surgery, make sure I was okay, and all that kind of stuff, and just for a peace of mind for me and comfort for me as well, because like I said, I wouldn't be able to see him for the next week. So I got to hear him, I got to see him, and he got to see me, and it was very like a brief, like maybe 2 minutes, and then they wheeled me out to the recovery house van and took me to the recovery house. So I guess I'll talk about my surgery real quick before I go into like detail about the recovery house. So this is a spot where I may or may not include some footage. I'll let you guys know. I'll put a little warning beforehand. But there is footage of my surgery, and it's not that they necessarily take video of every surgery they perform, but because I am part of the Team Elite, the EPS Miami brand ambassador program, part of my journey is that they are allowed to film my surgery and share it and things like that. So I will link that video because they have already shared it on their own YouTube channel as well as on Instagram. And it's pretty much like a 4 or so minute video of my surgery. So if you're curious to see my surgery in action and things like that, you can check it out. I may put a few brief snippets in here just to show you guys, but I'm not sure. It's pretty intense. I remember when I first saw it, it was, I mean, I kind of had to watch like this, like, because I have a hard time seeing that kind of stuff. Oh, it just creeps me out. Anyways, so seeing it is so crazy. It blows my mind. A few things blow my mind. One, it blows my mind that people are able to do this. Like, I couldn't imagine being able to cut people open and do what surgeons do and do what doctors do. Like, that blows my mind. Like, it's so crazy. The second thing that blows my mind is what the things that can be done to a person when they are asleep, when they are put out, is absolutely insane. Because obviously I look at this video and I have no recollection of it, but I know that's me, and it's so insane. Like, it's weird that that is something that was done to me while I was asleep and I have no idea. I mean, obviously I know that was happening, but like I have no recollection of it, and that absolutely blows my mind. For two, it was, or for three, it was, it's very like surreal is the only thing I could think to describe it, to watch the video of myself knowing it's me and watching it like that happening. But it's also very, very fascinating that I get to watch and see what was done and how the surgery was done. It's actually very fascinating, even if it is very hard to watch. But anyway, so I think if you are curious about that kind of thing, I will definitely link the video for you guys to check out, and you could really see the full surgery of what was done to me. But yeah, it's pretty intense.
Good morning, everybody. We're here with Maria. She's just about ready to go in for surgery.
got a nice waistline, and I think she'll be very happy.
Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the recovery house. So when I got to the recovery house, for one, they have a driver. His name is Alexis. He's the one who drives for all the appointments and things like that. He's the one who transports patients like to and from, you know, the office and things like that for all their appointments, and then when they're done with surgery and things like that. He's one of the first people I remember. And then when I got to the recovery house, the very first caretaker I met was Janine, and I will just say that Janine was my favorite caretaker there at the house. I thought she was just very knowledgeable and very kind and just like over the top helpful, I felt like, and just very, very sweet. Like she just, I don't know, I really liked her a lot. All the caretakers were really nice, but Janine was definitely my favorite. And so I don't really remember much of my first like night there, because I don't really know the time frame, because like I said, I was so exhausted, and I just remember getting to the recovery house, and then Janine had, you know, brought in my suitcase and asked about my prescriptions so she could make sure to have them set out for me and things like that, and like, you know, all that stuff. I just remember talking to her briefly. I think she helped me to the bathroom maybe that first night. I can't quite remember for sure, but all I really remember was her helping me, her being very kind to me, and then I slept. And I think I just slept and slept for like, you know, till the next morning, kind of a thing. Okay, so the recovery house, I want to talk a little bit about that. I took a bunch of pictures of the recovery house just so I can show you guys what it looks like, because like honestly, I didn't really know what to expect with the recovery house. I didn't know if it was more like a hospital-esque or like truly a house and things like that, and so when I got there, it was kind of surprising, but very pleasant. Like, so it literally is a house, and it's a really beautiful house. Like I said, I took lots of pictures. I'll put them on the screen so you guys can see, and it's just a very, very nice house. Now, I think there are 3, maybe 4 rooms. I didn't explore the whole house, and I didn't look at like all the rooms, but I know there's at least 3 rooms, maybe 4. There is always at least 1 caretaker, sometimes 2, but usually it's just mostly 1 caretaker at a time. The caretakers, like when you get there, will put their phone number in your phone. I'm pretty sure they do that with everybody, but that's one thing I remember Janine doing, asking for my phone, and she put her phone number in my phone, told me her name, and said, if you need anything, please just call me, because they're in the house, but instead of us calling for them, like yelling or trying to get up ourselves, the easiest way to contact them if they're doing something else is to literally call them on the phone so they can come help you with whatever you need, whether it's getting up to go to the bathroom, if you're hungry, just anything, if you have any questions, basically. So that's really nice. But I was in the room that was, I guess, probably considered originally like a master suite, so it was the biggest room. So my room, I had 2 roommates, but I think all of the other rooms are a little bit smaller, so there's only two people per room, and so anyways, but I wasn't really bothered by the fact that I had 2 roommates. They were both really, really nice, and what was really cool is that one of my roommates was there like the same day I was. I think she and I had our surgery the same day. Mine was in the morning, hers was in the afternoon, and then there was another girl who showed up after I'd already had my surgery, and that was the girl I mentioned earlier, that was from Nigeria. So she showed up, and this is so real. I think it's a really, really cool. But anyway, she had told me she came all the way from Nigeria. She was getting a breast lift as well as BBL, because that's what Dr. Salon is like really most famous for, most known for, is like, I guess, one of the best in the world, considering she came all the way from Nigeria, and she did a lot of research and things like that, and came across Dr. Salama and decided she would come here to do it. But anyway, she talked to me a little bit, and then I think it was like later that day, or maybe possibly the next day. I feel like it must have been later that day, but she said something to me, and then she's like, "Oh, you're Agape Love Girl," and I was like, yeah, because I guess she had messaged me on Instagram after my surgery, because I did post like a little photo update or something in my stories, and she had sent me a message and asked me a question, and was like, I'm having surgery tomorrow. And I actually didn't think, or no, she didn't say tomorrow, she said Tuesday. So for me, in my mind, I wasn't like, I was thinking maybe like next week. It wasn't really like in my mind like that she would be there at the recovery house or anything. I don't know. I was just, she asked me a question and I wrote her back and things like that. And then she's like, I'm the one who messaged you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And she had told me that she was actually following my journey and things like that, and was just really inspired by me. And that she said she didn't really put two and two together, because when she first met me, obviously I said my name was Maria, her name was Adana, and she's like, yeah, I just didn't put two and two together. She's like, of course your real name's Maria, your real name's not Agape Love Girl. She's like, but now that I realize it, I realized who you are. And so anyways, I thought that was really neat that she is someone who like kind of was following me and saw that I was getting surgery here too as well, and you know, we happened to be roommates together, and she was seriously one of the sweetest people. I was so glad to be able to room with her and just be able to connect with her. She's a really amazing person. And so anyways, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know how much she wants like about her on, you know, public, on my socials and things like that, but she was a really fascinating person, and I just thought it was really cool that we got to room together. Before I go on anymore, I'm just gonna let you guys know I'm gonna be using this palette. It's the Dido Cosmetics Eco Earth Shade palette. It's their like kind of blues and greens palette. So I guess we could get into my complication. So this, I didn't realize I had anything wrong until like the evening of the second day. And it's weird because I'm trying to think back, because like I said in the beginning, I think the first night that I came home, I feel like I'm pretty sure I got up to go pee, and I think I peed just fine. I know this is gonna seem weird, this is gonna be very TMI, but I'm trying to remember, and I'm like, did I pee? I can't remember. I was so out of it, like I don't remember. But I do remember like Janine had helped me go pee that first night before I went to sleep for the rest of the night. So the reason why I bring that up is because there was a point in the day, the second day, where I felt like I had to go to the bathroom, and so I did need help. So I called one of the other caretakers to help me get up out of bed and things like that. And they actually do like have to stay close by when you're in the bathroom, just in case you like fall or just whatever the thing may be. And so anyway, she had to be there, I remember like sitting down to go pee and like feeling like I needed to pee, but like it wouldn't come out, and it didn't like hit me really right away like that there was a problem. I just thought like maybe I was getting like what I call shy pee, which I'm not sure if anybody else is like this, but I feel like other people have got to be like this. It's kind of like when you feel like you have to go to the bathroom, but if someone's there or someone's like outside the door, maybe you're like in a public restroom and you know someone's like in the stall right next to you, and you kind of like have a hard time peeing knowing someone's like right there, like you get shy or whatever, like shy pee. And so I didn't know if it was that because the caretaker was like right there or what, but I was just like, oh, I have to pee, but I can't pee, it's like not coming out. So she goes and like she's like, well, maybe we'll turn on some water and see if that helps you, and you know, does that, and waits a little bit longer. And then I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go. So it wasn't like totally awful feeling, so I didn't really think anything of it, but I was like, okay, I guess I can't go. And then it like went back to bed, and anyways, kind of went about my normal day the rest of the day. Didn't really have a major sensation to have to pee or anything like that, so again, it just really didn't faze me at all. I had like, you know, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all that stuff, which by the way, the caretakers do make you all, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and things like that, and the meals are really nice, and it's just a really great experience. Honestly, I definitely recommend, like, if you go to EPS and you're getting surgery, definitely choose to stay at the recovery house. It's gonna be worth it because you're gonna have people there taking care of literally everything. So for me to like be there for that week and literally not have to do hardly anything for myself was like really weird, but very, very nice, and I think very much so needed, like, to help the recovery process. So anyways, I definitely recommend that place. Anyways, so fast forward to like the evening, and I can't even remember what time it was, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty late, and I was starting to feel like I had to go to the bathroom again, and tried to go to the bathroom, and I still couldn't go. And I just thought, okay, I don't know what's going on, but like it wasn't like too bad, so I again was really not really thinking much of it. But a couple hours later, I think it was around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I started feeling such pain from not being able to go to the bathroom. Like I kept getting up to go to the bathroom, and at this point I think I was kind of trying to get up and go on my own because it was a lot to have to keep calling the caretaker in there for me, and I was feeling okay enough to where I can kind of get up on my own. And I just couldn't go. But around like 1 or 2 in the morning, I was feeling so much pain because I could literally feel that my bladder was insanely full, and it was like putting so much pressure on my stomach and like on my incisions, and I'm already really sore in that area, you know, from obviously the surgery and things like that. So to have this pressure from a full bladder and to not be able to go, it was like absolutely frightening to me, and just uncomfortable and just very, very miserable. I pretty much stayed up the whole rest of the night because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lay back down, and I pretty much just like leaned on the side of my bed. I didn't actually get into bed because it was too painful to like lay down and things like that. So I just would like stand on the side of my bed, kind of leaning over with my hands on the bed, and then like every couple of minutes try to go to the bathroom. It was like this for the longest time, just kind of going back and forth trying to pee. Like I kept checking the time, and I swear I felt like the time was going by the slowest time could ever possibly go by. Like I'd literally be leaning against my bed for, you know, what seemed like 30 minutes, and I'd check the time and it was literally like 3 minutes later, and I was like, why is this happening to me? And then finally the caretaker came in and said, you know, suggested that maybe I take Tylenol to PM, and said, you know, maybe this will help. And so I almost didn't want to take it, but I'm kind of glad that I did, because after she gave that to me, I just kind of like half laid on my bed, and I did end up passing out, thankfully. And so unfortunately though, I think I only slept like 2 hours or something like that before waking up again. So I was hoping that would have passed the time a little bit more, but it didn't, you know. So I woke up and I was still in quite a bit of pain. But anyways, she did make sure to, you know, call the office, and you know, it being like, you know, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, she's not able to get a hold of anybody. But as soon as she was able to like get a hold of somebody at the office, they made sure to like take me in, because I didn't have an appointment that day, I don't think, but they made sure to get me in over there to check me out and see, you know, what was wrong, what was the issue, and things like that. So anyways, a long story short, I finally in the morning am able to get over, you know, to the office and be seen by the nurses and stuff like that. And they had to put a catheter in me to help, you know, relieve my bladder, and it was absolutely insane the amount of pee that my bladder was holding. Anyways, they kept the catheter in me, and they talked to the doctor and things like that. So come to find out that having issues with your bladder can be a side effect of the anesthesia. So it's not like abnormal. It's something that is a normal side effect, but I don't think it happens like very, very often. And then I ended up talking to my mom. Come to find out that when I told my mom that, she said that when she had major surgery with anesthesia, that she too dealt with that issue. So I kind of think that maybe it might be something that possibly is like genetic or runs in my family, and I had no idea about that. So definitely this was like kind of a complication, but not necessarily to the fault of the surgery or anything like that. It was just something that happens, that can happen, and happened to happen to me. So they brought in the another anesthesia person to talk to me about it and why this might be happening. And then Dr. Salama also talked to me as well, and he said that, you know, he's not a specialist in this type of thing, but he did reach out to a urologist, which is a specialist for this kind of a thing, to get his advice on what would need to be done to get me to be able to have my bladder start functioning again. So I was just praying so hard that I would be able to, you know, go on my own. It was just very, very, you know, scary. And while I really appreciate how well they took care of me and how they did everything that they could and were, you know, very kind and considerate, you know, of this, I mean, I don't really know what's normal for them to have to take care of and things like that for me or whatever, but I really appreciate that they did everything they could to really help me and try to make me comfortable. And so then on top of that, part of what they said was that in addition to the anesthesia, taking the medications, the pain medications that I was taking, can also hinder, you know, the bladder being able to function right. So they had recommended that if I absolutely could stand it, to stop taking my pain meds, otherwise take less and less frequently. But because I felt like I was handling the pain really well, the only thing that was really uncomfortable was my bladder. And because I was just really not terrified, but like in a sense like just wanted my bladder to function again, I just was like, okay, fine, I'm not taking my pain medications at all. So I completely stopped my pain medications by the third day there. So anyway, so that essentially was my complication. I'm kind of trying to keep the details short because it's like such a weird thing. It was definitely, that was the only unpleasant experience I had, and really that's not even due to the surgery or anything like that, just an effect that my body had to the anesthesia. I think other than that, like my experience with the surgery in general would have been really great actually. I did obviously feel a little bit of pain, but it wasn't like insane. Interestingly enough, like I feel like because I did get the full mommy makeover, so that means I got my boobs done as well as the tummy tuck. I didn't really feel much pain at all in my breasts at all. Like I was surprised there was no pain there at all. And even in my stomach there wasn't a lot of pain. It was just kind of like uncomfortableness, and very strange because I didn't realize this, and I guess now looking back I feel like that's kind of a given, but I just didn't think about it. But like a lot of your skin and your whole stomach is numb. Like I could touch my stomach but I couldn't feel it, but I could feel my stomach on my body. Like it just feels like some kind of weight on your body, but you don't realize, like it's hard to tell that that's like your stomach. So it's like a whole weird sensation. But other than that, it like wasn't painful or anything, or like too painful, and it wasn't bad. Like my experience with the surgery in like overall in general was really good actually. Like, and I think I would have probably actually enjoyed my experience because, like I said, the recovery house is really nice, it's really beautiful, the staff is really friendly and really helpful, but yeah, just that one complication made quite a few of the days I had there very uncomfortable. I was gonna say miserable, but it's not like it was miserable because I still really enjoyed my time there. I got to know a lot of the girls in the house and things like that. We hung out, we ate together, we watched TV together and like chatted and things like that. And so I really enjoyed my time there. Like I said, the caretakers are so sweet. There's another caretaker I really liked. Her name was Miss B, and she was just so sweet, so funny. And so yeah, my experience overall was really great, except for that one complication. So what I think I'm gonna do is go ahead and go into the questions that were asked. So on my community tab, let's see, I only have 4 comments here. So the first one says, wow, you look freaking hot. Do you work out a lot now? Okay, so the picture I posted on my community tab, I'll post here for you guys. It's me in my bikini. I really want to try on, this is after I got home, I think this 3rd day after I got home, and so this photo was taken just under 2 weeks post-op, and I just tried it on just to see. I wanted to see what it looked like and things like that. So I really love the way my body looks. But anyways, concerning working out, as of right now, no. I think you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks before you can really start working out again, and then you kind of have to start slow. They don't want me doing any ab workouts, which makes sense because when you get a tummy tuck, obviously it's a pretty big deal on your abs, as well as they do like muscle tightening, you know, so you want to be very careful of that. But yeah, prior to this surgery, I was working out. So probably for the, let's see, it started back in April, but August is when I started lifting weights, working out. So several months before my surgery, I was working out and things like that. So anyways, but this picture of me in my bikini, like I was just curious to see what it would look like on my body now. I love the way it looks. And this photo is still with a lot of swelling, a lot of bruising, so I know that my stomach is just gonna look even better in the long run. But right now I'm so happy with my results. I love the way my stomach looks. I don't know if I already said it, but I cried when I saw myself and saw my stomach like that, because I've never it's so silly, but I think the last time I ever had a flat stomach was I was like 7 or 10 or something like that. I was very young, because you know, I was overweight pretty much most of my life, and so even when I lost weight, my stomach still, you know, didn't ever look the same. It didn't have a flat stomach, and so to see my stomach flat for the first time in years, like blew my mind. I just felt like it looks so pretty. And I just love it, and I just know that it'll look even better once the swelling goes down, because that's how my stomach looks, even swollen and things like that. So anyways, very, very happy with my results so far, and I'm only 2 weeks post-op. So the next one says, wow, how are you feeling? I've always considered this, but wonder about the cut. How do you feel about the scar and the bikini line? Is it very noticeable? Does it feel too tight? Okay, so lots of questions there. For one, I'm feeling okay. Like I said, 2 weeks post-op, I still feel like kind of short of breath a little bit, because, you know, because it is such a tightening thing, and then they do the muscle tightening, breathing is a little bit hard, because then it's natural to like feel this tenseness and not want to like expand your lungs or breathe deep, because it feels weird. It can be painful, but it's also very tense. But you want to be able to expand your lungs. They want you to be able to stretch things out a little bit, you know, and really breathe deep and breathe out and things like that. But it is a very weird sensation. It is very difficult to do things like coughing. Oh my gosh, for a long time afterwards, I kept feeling like I had gunk in my throat, and I couldn't clear it because it's so hard to cough. One of the caretakers, I'm pretty sure it was Janine, had suggested holding a pillow close to, like tight to your stomach, and then coughing, because that helps. Just having the little added pressure against your stomach can help, because when you're kind of free flowing coughing in your core, it's like very difficult. And you feel like, literally I felt so pathetic, because I was like like I could not cough for the life of me. It's so kind of painful, but just uncomfortable. And even now, like sneezing has been like so hard for me, because it's like kind of painful, and it's just very, very difficult. So anyways, what was I getting around to? How am I feeling? Anyway, so yeah, oh, I was saying I still feel kind of short of breath a little bit. I'm still very slow, but I feel overall, I feel good. What's interesting is that, like I said sometime in this video, how like your whole stomach is kind of numb, you don't really feel anything. Now I'm at the point where my skin, I'm starting to get sensation in my skin, and some of the numbness is going down, like as nerves are finally starting to connect and refire and things like that. I'm finally starting to get some sensation back into my skin and stomach in some areas, but not all. There's still lots of parts of me that are very numb. But what's interesting is that like the parts that are finally starting to feel again, it's very, very sensitive. It's so strange. It feels nice that I can feel things, but even like the littlest things kind of feel slightly painful. And so it's not painful like unbearable, but it's just a very weird sensation to start feeling that stuff again. And then she says, I wonder about the cut. How do you feel about the scar and the bikini line? Is it very noticeable? Does it feel too tight? Hopefully, I want to remember to address the tightness, but the scar is very, very low. Like if you're looking at this photo, I'll put it back up again. The scar is, and I have the bottoms of the bikini kind of pulled down a little bit, but it's very, very low. Like literally, it's right above my pubic area, and it goes all the way across from like hip to hip. So it's a long, very big scar, but it's very, very low. And I'm actually really not even worried about it showing. I'm pretty sure whatever I end up wearing, if I wear a bikini or even just a regular swimsuit, I don't think it's going to show. And I'm sure that over time it will, you know, go down and things like that. I feel like, you know, everybody's different when it comes to scarring, but I feel like for me personally, I do well, my skin does really well healing from scars and things like that, and even stretch marks and stuff like that. Like I have lots of stretch marks, but they don't stay really pink and prominent for very long. So anyways, I think my scar will be fine. I'm sure everybody's different, but either way, they do the cut low enough to where it shouldn't really show, even if you wear a bikini. So I'm not really worried about it. I actually think like everything looks really good. And then as far as does it feel too tight, that is the weird thing, is that like it does feel tight. I'm having a hard time still standing straight up, but you really want to get your body used to standing straight up, so you don't like heel hunched, you know what I mean? You want to have your body straight up. But it's still kind of tough because you do feel tension, you do feel a taut, like a tightness sensation, and it's scary in a sense, like for me, because I feel like what if I am pulling too much? What if I rip my incision? What if I, you know, there's all these things that kind of can scare you into not wanting to like heel properly and stand straight up and get your body the way it needs to, because it does feel kind of tight and taut, but it's not like a horrible feeling. It just is, it's just weird. It's just like a new, different, you know, feeling that you kind of have to get used to, and then I'm sure as you heal that will go away, but definitely does feel tight. Not necessarily in the incision area, but just in general, my stomach and things like that feels very, very tight and tense and kind of tiring as well. So anyways, hopefully that answers that question. Okay, I had to really quickly do that brow because I knew I was going to get too distracted. So the next question says, wow, you look great. What's the recovery process like? Basically, like the first week I was in bed quite often. I was sleeping quite often. Like sleep, I feel like, is your best friend because it's very difficult to be awake. Breathing is hard. It's very difficult to get up and out of bed. You obviously do want to get up and out of bed. You want to move around a little bit, but you don't want to overexert yourself. But definitely, like, when you have a tummy tuck, your core, like, you really, and I knew this ahead of time because I've had a C-section, so I kind of had a general idea of what it feels like to like not be able to use your core or for your core to be in pain. But like, you know, just getting up out of bed, even with the help of a caretaker, it's very difficult. And honestly, just your stomach feels like you just went through the most intense ab workout of your life, and the soreness of an ab workout, it's like that, like times 100. Like that's what it feels like. So it's not like miserable, but also I think part of it could have been because like those first few days I was on pain medication, so like that's how I was feeling with the pain medications, but like you still feel like this soreness. So anyways, you want to get up and kind of walk around, but it's very difficult. You kind of are hunched for quite a long time. You have to slowly work to like being straight up, but it's very, like I already talked about, very weird because it's this tense, tight situation. They do put you in like a garment. I am wearing one today, like a compression garment. The first one I wore was very kind of loose, not loose, but like looser than the second one. The second one's quite a bit tighter, and I actually felt a lot better in the second one because I feel like it kind of holds you together and you feel like it's just helpful to have that compression and you feel held together, and I liked that. But I feel like in general, like I did pretty well. I felt like I was walking around pretty decent. Aside from my one, you know, my issue with my bladder, I feel like the recovery wasn't like super like miserable or anything like that. I just feel like you just kind of have to take it easy. After, I don't know, I can't remember after how many days, but like maybe like the third day or something, they want you to be making sure you're walking around like every couple of hours. Get up and walk for 10 minutes because you want to make sure that your drains are draining and stuff like that, and you're like, it helps your swelling go down, and then also you want to get your body used to like moving and things like that, and you don't just want to lay in bed the whole time. You do have drains in. I had 2 drains. I may show some pictures of the drains. They're basically coming out like where my legs kind of meet my hips or whatever, and you have those in. It varies for a lot of people, but it's like anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. I think I had mine in for just under 2 weeks. I just had them removed a couple days ago. The drains obviously are important to have to drain all that excess fluid out. You don't want any excess fluid in there, but the drains were uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy having the drains as much as I know they're necessary. And then taking the drains out, I was so scared that it would hurt, but it didn't really hurt. It just felt very strange because basically you have these tubes that are like all the way up inside you, and when they get pulled out, it's like you feel it, and it's very weird, but it's not painful. At least it wasn't for me. I've heard from other people that it is painful. I think it really just depends, but either way it's very, very quick, so it's not like the pain lasts quite a long time. And honestly, once my drains were removed, I actually felt a little bit better because with the drains inside you, like in your stomach, I kept feeling the drains a lot more than anything. Like the pain I was feeling when I did feel pain in my stomach wasn't from where my incision was. It was actually up in my stomach where and when I mentioned it to the doctors or the nurses and stuff, they're like, oh, that's, you know, where your drains are. So that's where I was feeling kind of like a weird sensation, and it was almost like a burning sensation, but not like burning, like, I don't know, that sounds so scary, so I don't want to scare anybody, but I just feel like it was just like a weird, uncomfortable sensation, and I know it was from my drains more than anything that I felt uncomfortable. So as far as like recovery process, the drains I think personally are like the most uncomfortable part of it. So yeah, recovery, I feel like it's gonna vary from person to person, but I feel like it's it's just slow going. You kind of, you know, don't want to do much. You don't want to overexert yourself. A lot of sleeping, and then just a lot of like trying to get your body to, in a sense, wake up and like do normal things, like even just walking. Walking is a little bit difficult, and every day more and more you'll stand more straight up and things like that, but it's still very exhausting. A lot of things I was doing, even just walking for a couple minutes or whatever, was tiring to me. So it's just kind of like a tiring process. The last question here says, how did the doctor treat you when you went in for surgery? Would you recommend anyone to go there for a tummy tuck? Like I said in the beginning of this video, the doctor surprised me in the sense that like I thought he seemed very serious and very intimidating. He seemed like the type who would be mean or something. I don't know why I feel like that, but I was just kind of intimidated by him. But in person, he's very, very kind. He's very knowledgeable. He's very helpful. Like even with my complication and things like that, he really made sure to take care of me, answer my questions, and you know, did everything he could to make sure I was comfortable and things like that. And like I said, here and there he would kind of say random jokes and things like that to kind of lighten the mood, and I really appreciated that. So I really like him a lot. I think a big part of him coming across as very intimidating on camera is because actually for my surgery video, my battery's blinking at me so I had to change it real quick, but anyways, for my surgery video I filmed with the doctor like a couple minutes before we was going to go into surgery, and before the lady started filming, he had mentioned to me that he really doesn't like being on camera. And so I really think that that's why he kind of comes across as a little bit intimidating on camera, is because I think he himself doesn't like being on camera, so it's like a little bit uncomfortable for him. So he comes across as just very, very serious and things like that. So anyways, I think he's a really great doctor, very kind. I was really you know, grateful when I actually met him in person. Definitely, I personally am so insanely happy with my results. Like I said, when I saw myself in my bikini, I cried seeing how pretty. I think my stomach looks so pretty, and I am so happy with my results. And like I said, I still have so much healing to do. I'm still swollen, I'm still bruised, but even now I love my results. So would I recommend him? I would. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an ambassador for them and I like have to say it or something, like, but I am just so happy with my results, and I'm just so excited to be sharing my journey with you guys, because you guys get to see for yourself like what it looks like and what I've gone through and things like that. So you know, you can fully decide for yourself, you know, with the help of my experience, on if he would be a doctor you would go to. But just knowing even that like people fly from all over to come see him. And I know the girl from Nigeria had said she was following me, but I'm pretty sure she had decided beforehand, before finding me, that she was going to go to him, but she found me after deciding that's where she was going to, you know, go. So I thought that was really neat. So I don't think it was just because of me that she decided to go to him, because obviously she was going for a BBL, not a tummy tuck. But anyways, and then another girl, I will just say, in the house was a repeat patient. She had come and gotten a BBL from Dr. Salama 6 years ago, and she was back getting her boobs done. And so I thought that was also interesting too, that there were people from all over, people from other countries. There was another girl from California, another girl from Boston, and then just having another girl in the house who was, you know, a repeat patient of his, just really tells me something. And so I wanted to be able to share that with you guys, that I think that's really neat, and I think that speaks volumes about him as a doctor. Let me go to my questions that I got on Instagram. The first one says, how painful was recovery and the first days following the surgery? I feel like I kind of already answered this. It's hard to say because everybody's going to be different, definitely. And personally, I think I have a very high tolerance for pain. So I feel like my experience might be a little bit different. So I don't want to be like, oh, it's not painful at all, and then like you decide to get a tummy tuck and you're like, this was horrible. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to be different for sure. And I will say that they, you know, they give you pretty good pain medication. So I mean, like, if you're in pain, you have those options to help with the pain. But I will say that, you know, I really didn't think pain-wise, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Obviously, it's going to be uncomfortable. It is going to be a little bit painful. It's difficult. But I was really scared that like the pain was going to be like unbearable or really just so bad, but it really wasn't. And also I say that with the fact that I stopped taking my pain medications, on the third day. So from the third day out, I didn't take any pain medication, and even still, like not taking my pain medication, I felt fine. I was really surprised by that. So pain wise, I honestly don't think it was that bad. It's not comfortable, of course, but it wasn't like unbearable. So oh, it says, I don't have a question, but they did an amazing job. You look great. Thank you so much. I totally agree. Again, from my Instagram story, I did share my bikini photo just so you guys can kind of see like what I was looking like. I'm so happy with the results so far. I literally cannot wait to see how my body looks in a couple of months, because I know it'll be even better. But like even just my body now, like it blows me away. It truly does. So the next one says, how painful was the recovery? I'm scheduled in April for a lift with implants, BBL, and extended TT. So does that mean like an extended tummy tuck? I'm not quite sure. Wow, that's that's a lot of surgery. So obviously I did get a lift with implants as well and the tummy tuck. She's also doing a BBL. Whew. Okay, so I will say that most of the girls there, since I already talked about pain, I think it'll be different for you because that's a lot. Like for me, what I got is a lot of surgery, but to also get a BBL, that is a lot of surgery. So anyways, what I was going to say is most of the girls in the house are there for a BBL because that's actually what Dr. Salama is, I think, most known for, most well known for. Like he does the best BBLs, which is a Brazilian butt lift for those who don't know. And so I was like one of the only girls in the house who could like actually sit to do anything because I didn't get a BBL. When you get a BBL, recovery is quite a bit different. And honestly, like my husband joked about like, oh, maybe you should get a BBL because he's seen like the doctor's results and stuff like that. And I was like, no, I don't think I would ever get a BBL. I said, if I want a booty, I will get it in the gym. Like I don't think I could do it. Because recovery for BBL patients is quite a bit different. And I don't want to say it's like more painful because like obviously I didn't experience that, but usually to get a BBL you get liposuction in various places on your body wherever he feels it's best to take it from, and that fat from the liposuction is then injected into your butt. So you're obviously going to have soreness from the lipo, and the lipo, that kind of lipo is typically pretty aggressive lipo, and I've seen it done. It's kind of intimidating, but aggressive lipo is good. That's how you'll get the best results. Anyway, so you're going to be sore from the lipo, and then you can't sit down. You literally cannot sit down. I think it's like for 6 months or so. So, I mean, in a sense, they have ways to work around being able to sit down. They'll have like special pillows you can kind of sit in where your butt's not touching anything in a way, which to me kind of seems like you're still sitting on it. I don't know how it works, but anyways, they have it to where you, like even on the bed, the girls who got BBLs had these big old like donut type kind of pillows they had to lay, like have their butt in to be able to lay down, or they could be on their, like sleep on their bellies. And then they all had to stand up to eat, and then there was like chairs they can be in where they, if they wanted to like not have to stand, like they can kneel and lean over but not sit down. And so like I feel like the recovery process for BBL seems like just definitely not fun. I'm sure it's really worth it because the results are really awesome, but oh my gosh, me personally, I don't think I could go through with the BBL because I wouldn't want to go through the healing process of a BBL. It just seems like so much. But you know, everybody's different, and so anyways, as far as pain, like I already talked about, for me the pain wasn't too bad, but getting that much surgery, that's going to be quite a recovery. So okay, so next one says, how long is recovery? Recovery for tummy tuck could take up to a whole year basically, and that just means like before you see your real full potential results and things like that, because you know, even though right now I can get up and walk and I could do things, you know, I'm still swollen. I'm only 2 weeks out, but I'm still very swollen. I still have some bruising. My incision is healed up, but it's not like fully healed, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of time, and usually I think when you start really kind of seeing your full form and shape and can move and do more things is about, I think, 3 to 4 months, or maybe even 2 months. I'm not quite sure, but really like you're true full results, I think a lot of people say, don't really show till like about a year mark, but I'm pretty sure like as in like recovery, when can I do normal things, give it a couple months and I think I'll be good. But I'm going to be updating along the way of this whole process, so I'll let you guys know how everything goes. Next one is, now you're back home and the kids have seen the results of your surgery, what do they think? Actually my kids have not really I don't know what they think. They haven't really said much, but also I've been covered up quite a bit because I do have to wear the compression garments, and so they haven't really seen my results that much yet. I think all of them were just really glad that I am home because I was pretty much gone for like 2 weeks almost. So yeah, I don't really know what they think yet. They haven't really, you know, said anything. They're just, you know, really glad that I'm just home. So anyways, that was the last question. I'm gonna go ahead and just finish my mascara off camera, and then we'll wrap up this video. So lastly, before I wrap up this video, I thought of one more question that it was asked previously in my pre-op video Q&A, but I didn't have an answer for, so I figured I'd just answer here real quick. So it was asked about what size implants I would get, and I didn't know at the time because I wanted to talk to the doctor and see, you know, what he thought would be best for what I wanted and my breast size that currently before surgery. And so basically, I mentioned before that I wanted to get my boobs done because I wanted them to even out. One hung a little bit lower than the other, and they were kind of more deflated. Well, the one that hung a little bit lower was actually a little bit bigger than the other one. So my implants, I did get 2 sizes to be able to even them out. And so for anybody curious, for my right breast, because that was the smaller one, so it needed a little bit bigger of an implant, I did get silicone implants, and I got 415 cc's, and then for my left side I got 365 cc's. So I'm looking at this little card they gave me that's like a device identification card for my implants. So anyways, I think that's it. I know this video was insanely long. I just had a lot to share. I felt like my mind was all over the place, but I really hope I shared it best I could and gave you guys the best information about my experience and things like that I could. If you guys have any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I do plan on doing like a 1-month post-op video, and hopefully that will be a little bit shorter so I can answer any additional questions in that video. I definitely plan on also sharing like my body side by side before and after in that video and things like that. But today I just want to kind of sit down, do my makeup, share my experience from what I remember. It's only been 2 weeks, but I feel like it's been so long already. Just since being home, I feel like my memories fading of my experience, and I really wanted to be able to share my experience with you guys because, like I said, overall in general, I feel like I had a really great experience. I really enjoyed the recovery house and the caretakers there. Meeting Dr. Salama and the nurses there. It was really great to actually meet them in person. I had a really great experience with them. I felt really well taken care of, especially considering my one complication. And really that was the only thing that made my experience bad, but really that was at no one's fault except for just a kind of common issue that can happen with anesthesia. So I just happen to be one of the lucky ones to have to deal with that, but thankfully I'm all better now, and I feel really great, and I'm really excited to see my progress going forward. So anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and hearing my experience. But with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!